Hey Taylor, have you ever heard the quote, "Not everything that counts can be counted, and not everything that can be counted counts"?
Yes, Alex, that's a popular one. It's often attributed to Albert Einstein, but it's more accurately attributed to William Bruce Cameron.
Interesting. It's a compelling idea. I was reading a foreword recently that touched on this. They were discussing journal metrics and how even though not everything important can be measured, there are still many valuable insights to be gained from what can be counted.
Absolutely. While it's true that not everything important can be quantified, ignoring measurable data would be a mistake. Journal metrics, for instance, can provide critical perspectives on academic trends.
The foreword mentioned the significance of journal-level metrics. It highlighted how these metrics, like CiteScore, Scimago Journal Rank (SJR), and Source Normalized Impact Per Paper (SNIP), are freely available on Scopus. They don't just cover journals, but also include supplements, special issues, and conference proceedings.
Right, these metrics are essential tools. They help create a multifaceted view of a journal's impact and are part of an expanding suite on Scopus that offers comprehensive insights.
They also talked about article-level metrics and how Plumks Metrics has become a primary source for these. It's fascinating how they categorize metrics into usage, captures, mentions, social media, and citations.
Plumks Metrics is indeed a powerful tool. It provides insights into how people interact with research outputs, be it articles, conference proceedings, or book chapters. These interactions can significantly affect the perceived impact of the research.
The foreword also pointed out that many people involved in research, whether directly or indirectly, wouldn't consider themselves experts in metrics. This guidebook is aimed at those people, helping them use metrics appropriately and responsibly.
That's a crucial aspect. Using metrics without a proper understanding can lead to misinterpretations. This guidebook sounds like a practical companion, offering guidelines on how to use metrics from tools like Scopus and Cival effectively.
It mentioned the importance of using more than one metric to get insights into a question and combining metrics with peer review or experts' opinion to support conclusions. They call this triangulation of approaches.
Yes, triangulation helps increase the reliability of conclusions. If different types of information reinforce each other, it strengthens the findings. If they don't, it highlights areas for further investigation.
The guidebook seems to provide a balanced, multidimensional view of research assessment, suggesting that common sense should guide the use of metrics.
That's the best approach. Metrics should complement qualitative insights to provide a comprehensive evaluation. For instance, author and institutional metrics can give a detailed view of research output and impact.
With Scopus, you can analyze and track an individual or institution's publication history. They offer tools like the H-Index, Citation Overview Tracker, and author output analysis to assess performance.
Those tools are invaluable. The H-Index, for example, rates a scientist's performance based on their career publications and citations, giving a measure of both quantity and quality. The Citation Overview Tracker and analysis tools help visualize and understand an author's influence.
It's all about using these metrics responsibly and in context, isn't it?
Exactly. Metrics provide significant insights, but they must be used thoughtfully and in conjunction with expert judgment to ensure accurate and fair evaluations.
Hey Taylor, I was reading more about how Scopus groups publications into author profiles. The process seems quite sophisticated.
It is. Scopus uses a matching algorithm that looks for similarities in author names, affiliations, journal portfolios, and disciplines to group publications together. This algorithm is pretty accurate, grouping publications when the confidence level is at least 99%.
That's impressive. So, for a group of 10 papers, 9 will be correctly assigned. But what about situations where author names are very common, like with Chinese authors?
In those cases, there's a higher chance of fragmentation, meaning publications might be split between different author profiles. Conversely, names that are more distinctive, often found in Western countries, result in less fragmentation.
Makes sense. And if a publication has multiple co-authors, it will appear in multiple author profiles, right?
Exactly. This ensures that each co-author gets credit for the publication. Additionally, Scopus allows for manual reassignment of publications based on feedback, which helps improve the accuracy of author profiling.
I saw that the feedback comes from the sector, including initiatives like the Open Researcher and Contributor ID ORCID. That sounds like a good way to enhance the profiling process.
Yes, the ORCID initiative is quite valuable in this context. It helps ensure that author identities are accurately represented, even when their names or affiliations change over time.
I also read that the presence of author profiles in Scopus provides flexibility for Cival users. They can define and view any researcher in the world in real time.
That's correct. Cival users can build on these author profiles to create and analyze groups of researchers. These groups can represent research teams, departments, collaboration networks, or even hypothetical models of research teams.
That sounds incredibly useful for managing and evaluating research outputs. Scopus seems to have a vast amount of content. How does it select which publications to include?
The Scopus Content Selection and Advisory Board continuously reviews titles for inclusion. They consider journals, conference proceedings, trade publications, book series, and standalone books. Scopus indexes more than 70 million publications, capturing reference lists for records published from 1970 onwards.
And I noticed that Cival uses Scopus content from 1996 onwards to ensure consistent citation counts and current trends. How does Scopus handle book citations?
Scopus indexes both book series and standalone books. In Cival, books refer to standalone books only. Citations can be linked to individual chapters if the information is provided, otherwise, they link to the edited volume. This ensures that both authors of chapters and editors of volumes get appropriate credit for their scholarly contributions.
That's good to know. How frequently are the data in Scopus and Cival updated?
Scopus data are updated daily, while Cival data are updated every week. Cival takes a snapshot of the Scopus database to support its metrics and functionality, so it might be slightly behind Scopus in terms of data currency.
It's clear that a lot of effort goes into maintaining the accuracy and currency of this data. Scopus really is unique in its investment in automatically grouping publications by a single author.
Indeed. This automatic grouping, along with the ability to manually adjust profiles based on feedback, makes Scopus a powerful tool for accurately tracking and assessing research outputs.
Taylor, I was reading about how Scopus and Cival manage publication sets and the creation of researcher profiles. It's quite detailed.
Yes, it is. In Cival, publication sets can represent a researcher's output from a particular affiliation or those funded by a specific award. They can even group publications for national evaluations like the Research Excellence Framework in the UK.
Cival distinguishes between authors and researchers, right? Authors are the automatically created Scopus author profiles, while researchers are entities created with human input.
Exactly. Authors are the unique Scopus author profiles, which might overestimate the number of researchers due to a 95% recall rate. This means a researcher's publications might be split across multiple profiles.
And researchers in Cival are created manually. Users can combine author profiles, remove publications that don't belong, and add those that should be included to create a more accurate researcher profile.
Right. This manual process can be done by users or through Elsevier's profile refinement service. The feedback from these manual enhancements is fed back to Scopus, improving the quality of the database for all users.
I also read about affiliation profiles. Scopus groups publications by affiliation using a matching algorithm that looks for similarities in affiliation names and addresses. This ensures publications are correctly grouped, even with multiple name variants.
Yes, that's one of the strengths of Scopus. It uses a manually verified database of over 70,000 institutional name variants to match publications. This helps in accurately grouping them into affiliation profiles.
But the algorithm isn't perfect, right? It's supplemented by feedback from the official authority of the affiliation in question to improve accuracy.
That's correct. Feedback helps enhance the profiling process, ensuring that the data remains as accurate and complete as possible.
In Cival, the presence of these affiliation profiles offers significant benefits. Metrics are pre-calculated and easily viewable. Users can also benefit from predefined groups of institutions, like those in each American state.
Exactly. Cival distinguishes between affiliations and institutions. Affiliations are automatically created Scopus affiliation profiles, while institutions are manually grouped related profiles, offering a convenient starting point for users.
I also noticed that there's a debate about whether publications belong to institutions or researchers, especially since researchers often change affiliations.
That's an important point. The institutional perspective is that publications should remain assigned to the institution, even if the authors move. On the other hand, the researcher perspective is that publications should move with their authors.
Cival offers both perspectives, right? Publications are linked to both affiliations and researchers to support different questions.
Yes, having both perspectives allows Cival to provide a comprehensive view. This is crucial for accurate evaluation and tracking of research outputs, accommodating both institutional and researcher-centric approaches.
Taylor, I've been trying to understand how Scopus and Cival handle institution and researcher perspectives differently.
Sure, in Cival, institutions and groups of institutions take the institutional perspective, meaning the focus is on the institution's output regardless of where the researchers go. On the other hand, researchers, groups of researchers, and publication sets take the researcher perspective, focusing on the individual researchers and their mobility across institutions.
That makes sense. I also read about how organization types are assigned in Scopus and Cival. In Scopus, organization types are assigned based on the primary functions of the affiliations. They include categories like university, college, medical school, hospital, research institute, corporate, law firm, government, military organization, and non-governmental organization.
Yes, and in Cival, these organization types are aggregated into broader categories to simplify things for the user. Cival uses 5 organization types: academic, corporate, government, medical, and other. These aggregate the more specific Scopus types into broader categories.
For example, academic in Cival includes universities, colleges, medical schools, and research institutes from Scopus, right?
Exactly. And corporate includes corporate entities and law firms, while government covers government and military organizations. Medical is solely hospitals, and other includes non-governmental organizations.
I also noticed Scopus and Cival use various journal metrics developed by academic research teams. These metrics are available online and are free. Some of the key metrics include CiteScore, SNP, and SJR.
That's right. CiteScore calculates the average number of citations received in a calendar year by all items published in the journal in the preceding 3 years. SNP, or Source Normalized Impact per paper, accounts for differences in citation practices across disciplines, allowing for comparisons across fields. SJR, or Simago Journal Rank, is a prestige metric that weights citations based on the quality and reputation of the citing journal.
Journal metrics, except for CiteScore, aren't calculated for trade publications, correct?
Correct. These metrics focus on scholarly journals. Trade publications are treated differently.
I also read about other sources for metrics in research intelligence solutions, like NEFSFlow and Plunk's metrics. NEFSFlow tracks and analyzes media coverage of research to measure its wider impact, which is becoming increasingly important for securing research funding and attracting students.
Yes, NEFSFlow is quite innovative. It helps demonstrate the societal impact of research by tracking media mentions. Plunk's metrics, on the other hand, provide insights into how people interact with research outputs online. They categorize metrics into usage, captures, mentions, social media, and citations.
And then there are patent-related metrics. Cival identifies and counts citations research papers received from patents, providing another dimension to measure research impact.
Exactly. These patent-related metrics consider forward citations, indicating how research results are used in the patent world. It's important to note that patents only become available for research metrics around 18 months after the application date, and CIVAL looks at citations from major patent offices like the EPO, USPTO, UKIPO, CHPO, and WIPO.
This comprehensive approach to metrics really helps provide a well-rounded view of research impact.
Absolutely. Using a combination of these metrics, along with traditional citation counts, gives a balanced, multi-dimensional perspective on research impact.
Taylor, I've been learning about how to make research management decisions using a mix of peer review, expert opinion, and quantitative evidence. It seems that when these different approaches align, it gives more confidence in the decision.
Exactly. When these approaches triangulate and give similar messages, you can be more confident in your decision. Conflicting messages, on the other hand, signal that further investigation might be necessary.
I see. It's also suggested to use an evidence base from various angles, just like seeking multiple peer reviews or expert opinions.
Yes, that's a good approach. Triangulating information using 2 or 3 different metrics for the same question ensures that the insights are as reliable as possible. There is no strict rule on which metrics to use. It depends on the question at hand.
So, selecting the right metrics is important. What should I keep in mind when doing that?
The key is to clearly articulate the question you're asking. You also need to be aware of other factors that might influence the metrics, such as differences in performance, which might not always be relevant to your specific context.
What kinds of questions are typically asked?
They generally fall into 3 groups: performance evaluation, demonstration of excellence, and scenario modeling. Performance evaluations are usually done by national bodies or line managers to assess career development. Demonstration of excellence is often used in funding applications or to attract students. Scenario modeling helps in decisions like recruiting academics or reorganizing a department.
What about factors other than performance that affect the value of a metric?
There are 6 main factors: size, discipline, publication type, database coverage, manipulation, and time. CIVAL provides options to account for these variables, supporting the user with different metrics and functionalities.
So, when making research management decisions, it's crucial to consider these factors and choose metrics that are appropriate for the specific question.
Absolutely. By understanding and using the right metrics, alongside peer reviews and expert opinions, you can make well-informed and robust decisions.
Taylor, I've been learning about different factors that can influence the value of research metrics, and I'd like to discuss them further. Can we start with size?
Sure, Alex. Size is a significant factor. There are metrics known as power metrics, like scholarly output and citation count, which tend to increase with the size of an entity. These metrics are useful for measuring productivity and the total citations an entity receives.
So, larger entities generally perform better on these metrics, right?
Yes, they do. When evaluating performance, it's important to account for size differences. For example, citations per publication can reveal the efficiency of citations per item. However, for demonstrating excellence, large entities may benefit from using power metrics, as their performance will generally appear better.
What about the discipline? How does that factor affect metrics?
Different disciplines have distinct research and communication behaviors. For instance, metrics like citation count and citations per publication vary significantly across fields. Neuroscience typically has higher citation counts than engineering, but that doesn't mean neuroscience is inherently better.
So, we shouldn't compare these metrics across different fields?
Exactly. For cross-field comparisons, use field-normalized metrics like field-weighted citation impact or publications in top journal percentiles. These metrics account for differences in research behaviors across disciplines.
What specific behaviors cause these differences?
Several factors, such as frequency of publication. Fields like chemical engineering tend to publish more frequently than mathematics. Length of reference lists. Disciplines like toxicology have longer reference lists compared to social sciences. Number of co-authors. Research in physics is usually more collaborative, leading to more co-authors per publication than in arts and humanities. This makes sense. So, understanding these differences is crucial for making fair and accurate evaluations in research management.
Absolutely. By considering these factors, you can use the most appropriate metrics to get a comprehensive and accurate assessment of research performance.
I'm curious about how different factors influence research metrics. For example, how do different disciplines affect the values of these metrics?
That's a great question, Alex. Metrics values are generally higher in fields like neuroscience and life sciences compared to materials science and computer sciences. This difference doesn't necessarily reflect performance, but rather the way academics in these disciplines conduct research.
So, if I want to compare researchers from different fields, what should I consider?
When comparing across disciplines, it's best to use field-normalized metrics like field-weighted citation impact. You should also apply filters to focus on a common field when comparing entities that consist of multiple disciplines.
What about the classifications of disciplines? How are they defined?
Disciplines can be defined in different ways. Journal classifications. Scopus assigns journals into categories, which offers consistency. However, these classifications can be large and slow to update. Publication-level classifications. These are based on the content and references of individual publications and adapt more quickly to changes in research trends. They're used in Cival for calculating field-weighted citation impact. User-defined disciplines. These are created by users based on specific keywords and phrases, offering flexibility but posing challenges for validation by others.
What about the type of publication? Does that affect citation rates?
Yes, different publication types attract citations at different rates. For example, review articles generally receive more citations than original research articles. This can be important depending on the performance metric you're interested in.
If I want to focus on a specific type of publication, what should I do?
You can apply a publication type filter to focus on specific types of publications. Additionally, using field-weighted citation impact can help normalize for a publication type, ensuring a fair comparison.
Thanks. This helps a lot in understanding how to use metrics effectively in research evaluation.
You're welcome. It's essential to consider these factors to make informed and fair evaluations.
I've been reading about database coverage and how it affects research metrics. Could you explain this in more detail?
Sure. Databases like Scopus have specific guidelines for what content they include. Scopus aims to be selective, meaning not every single publication globally is indexed. This affects the metrics in Cival since only the indexed items are part of the calculations.
What should I consider when thinking about database coverage?